Tonight on CTV News.
She thought she was being kidnapped, honestly. She didn't have a whole lot explained to her in the beginning, and she was absolutely terrified.
How a stopover in Vancouver led to a New Zealand mother and her 6-year-old being sent to a U.S. immigration detention facility in Texas. Also tonight.
I'm concerned about getting back from my destination.
It looks like we're going to have to pay out of pocket probably about $900 for a new flight.
Tensions sky high as Air Canada flights are grounded. Will the federal government get involved as the clock ticks down on a strike by flight attendants? And
there is a chance, not only this year, also next year, winning titles in the future.
He's come to Vancouver to win. German soccer star Thomas Müller starts his tenure as a Whitecap, while local soccer fans are still pinching themselves.
This is CTV News with Nafisa Kareem.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. A day trip over the border to drop her 2 oldest kids off at YVR landed a Washington State woman and her 6-year-old in a Texas immigration facility for 3 weeks. She had an issue with her visa that almost never led to detention. That is until Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. CTV's Shannon Patterson has the story.
Sarah Shaw moved to Everett, Washington from New Zealand with her 3 young children in 2021.
She's one of the most positive people I know. She's so involved with her children. She absolutely loves living in America.
Shaw works for the Washington State government and has what's called a combination card visa, which came up for renewal.
Sarah's work portion was approved, but they didn't actually articulate to her that the travel portion was still pending. They just sent her the renewed visa, told her she was good to go.
So Shaw figured she could cross the land border into BC, drop her 2 oldest children at YVR for a flight to New Zealand to visit their grandparents, and then drive back home to Everett with her 6-year-old son, Isaac.
It was upon trying to re-enter the United States that suddenly everything went wrong.
Shaw and her son were detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement on July 24th. She told her friend they were placed in an unmarked white van.
She thought she was being kidnapped, honestly. She didn't have a whole lot explained to her in the beginning, and she was absolutely terrified.
Eventually, Shaw was told that because one part of her combination visa was still pending, she had invalidated it by briefly leaving the U.S.
In the past, a case like this, they would parole the person back in and have them fix whatever is lacking, and they'd be on their way. They would never been detained like this. It's just, I'm shocked at the overzealousness that's happening.
Mother and son were sent to this family immigration detention center in South Texas. They've been there now for 3 weeks, sharing a room with a dozen other detainees.
Those rooms are locked from 8 p.m. until 8 a.m. There's a singular phone. There is a shared bathroom. It's very much like prison.
She's got a minor child who's probably waiting to enjoy summertime and has been locked up in this detention center in the middle of nowhere.
Saunders says what happened to the Shaws is a reminder that under Donald Trump, it is not business as usual at the U.S. border.
It's exhausting hearing all these stories. There just seems to be absolutely no discretion from the U.S. government. If someone's lacking documents, instead of having some discretion, they're just detaining them and deporting people.
Fearing she would be deported, Shaw's friends contacted the media and her colleagues contacted ICE.
And thankfully, with all of the support that she has been given, they are releasing her and she will be able to come home this week.
Well, she expects to get her paperwork in order to stay in the U.S.
Sarah is very weary about ever crossing the border again.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
Now to the chaos already starting at airports across the country. Air Canada is canceling flights ahead of a possible strike by its flight attendants tomorrow night. Both sides are still very far apart, and so far the federal government is staying out of it. CTV's Dimitra Maragos is live at YVR. Dimitra, what are you hearing tonight from passengers?
Nafisa, passengers have been left scrambling, some of them having to deal with surcharges from other airlines trying to get to their destination. But I spoke to a representative from the union, and they say this all could have been avoided by a fair deal. Protesters picketing in Toronto over what CUPE says is flight attendants' unpaid work.
We are extremely disappointed by CUPE's decision, which threatens to disrupt the travel plans of more than 130,000 customers a day.
One of those 130,000 customers is Delilah.
A lot of inconvenience. I had to buy another flight.
Who's on her way to her son's wedding in Calgary. And this flight inconvenience comes at a cost.
So everybody's spending double now and more expensive.
And she says she's tried to reach out to the airline.
No one can reach Air Canada.
Please don't look at the flight attendants. We are paid by a corporation, and if the corporation isn't paying, then you know who to blame.
Henley Lairden, the vice president elected and interim president appointed at CUPE, says they're still ready to bargain with Air Canada.
We really are looking for Air Canada to come back and continue negotiations in good faith. Whether they do that or not, that's on them.
The union says Air Canada offered an 8% wage increase in the first year of a 4-year deal, while Air Canada said it offered the union a 38% increase in total compensation, which includes wages and benefits over 4 years. With a 25% increase in the first year, the union maintains it hasn't seen such an offer.
Over inflation, we have lost 9% cumulatively. So when it was offered the 8%, that is a 1% reduction to where we're currently at.
Lairden adding their offer?
It is still below our competitors.
Air Canada has asked the federal government to step in and force mediation. However, Lairden saying this is an unfair tactic.
They're asking the federal government to do their dirty work.
But for passengers like Delilah, she says she's trying to stay positive.
There are people who have more unfortunate circumstances than flight issues.
Now, the union has until 9 a.m. tomorrow to respond to Air Canada's request to the job minister to send the two parties to binding arbitration. Nafisa?
Thank you, Dimitra. So what if you are an Air Canada ticket holder trying to decide what to do ahead of potential flight cancellations? Coming up a little later in the broadcast, we'll take a look at your options and your rights. The ravenous wildfire burning near the Vancouver Island community of Port Alberni is pushing its perimeter further into the forest. The Mount Underwood fire is now bigger than the size of Victoria. With the latest, here's CTV's Rob Buffum.
Billowing smoke from the Mount Underwood fire creeps up the terrain less than 10 kilometers from Port Alberni. A wildfire already bigger than the city of Victoria. Fanned by overnight winds, it's grown to more than 3,000 hectares.
The fire has spread closer to the community. We are aware of that. The public is aware of that.
Evacuation orders for an area campground remain in effect. The city of Port Alberni has declared a local state of emergency as a precaution and placed the Cameron Heights neighborhood on evacuation alert.
It is a precaution, and there is still, no imminent danger to that neighborhood of our community. If there was, an order would be issued.
11 helicopters bucket the blaze being battled by 87 wildfire fighters. City staff Thursday handing out warnings to homeowners about fire hazards like tall grass.
Now more than ever, we really want to make sure that we are ensuring our community is as fire safe as possible.
For now, gusts have moved the fire east of the city. Meanwhile, the fire has knocked out power to the nearby remote community of Bamfield, already facing limited access due to a road closure. Power isn't expected back for at least 72 hours.
Given the tourism industry that we have, the hikers, the kayaking, and the salmon sports fishing, this is going to be devastating for our community.
The fire has triggered an air quality advisory from Environment Canada through the Sunshine Coast and Northern Gulf Islands. It's the most significant blaze in BC right now, one of 89 province-wide, but just one of 5 deemed out of control in what's been a relatively quiet fire season.
It's quite unusual for us in August, and for us to not see any of the larger incidents or out of control wildfires burning in either the Kamloops or the Caribou or the Southeast fire centers as well.
Rains are forecast for tonight and the coming days near Port Alberni. A reprieve welcomed by fire crews and a community closely watching the winds and a fire perilously nearby.
Rob joins us live now from Victoria. Rob, we're already hearing about pleas for financial help from the province.
That's right. Nafisa, Bob Beckett, who we saw in the story there, who's a regional director in the Bamfield area, is asking for the province, says it's going to need to help out given what a critical time it is for tourism there, with charter salmon fishing key right now and power shut off for the next 3 days. On a positive note, Nafisa, it's worth noting it just started raining here in Victoria about 15 minutes ago. It's coming down, and I'm told it's the same situation in Port Alberni, so welcome relief for folks in that community. Nafisa.
Welcome relief indeed. Thank you, Rob. The Vancouver Whitecaps' newest star says he's ready for this next adventure. In his first news conference with the club, Germany's Thomas Müller revealed why he wants to play here. CTV's Isabella Zavarisi has more on the man many are calling the biggest signing in Whitecaps history.
Supporters, you ready? How does this work? Thomas! Thomas!
A proud moment for Thomas Müller.
It's a special day for me today to be here. To get to this journey.
The Vancouver Whitecaps announced they had signed the 35-year-old midfielder last week. Müller spent the past 2 decades with his hometown club, FC Bayern Munich.
I'm very proud of this time, but for me it was time also a little bit for an adventure.
Müller landed in the city Wednesday, greeting fans at YVR.
I think the excitement since we met him at the airport yesterday is just like I could barely sleep.
That excitement translating into record sales for the club.
We have never sold so many jerseys in such a short time. Our ticket sale for all the remaining home games in the regular season have spiked, and the game on the weekend will be sold out.
The Caps face Houston Sunday. Whether Müller will play is still unknown. But what is for sure is that this is the most high-profile signing the club has ever had.
We deserve it. This team deserves it. It's that we get this attention and that we have people looking at this club is only deserved because we are performing on a very, very high level.
The team is coming off a successful season. Müller is one of Germany's most decorated footballers, scoring 250 goals and representing his country in the World Cup and Euros. Coach Jesper Sorensen says Müller's competitiveness and work ethic will complement the team.
This is also what it's about. It's about Thomas' desire to come and make a mark.
When asked how he will adapt to playing in the MLS,
no idea. We will find out. We will find out. But that's the interesting thing about life. You have to prove it every day.
Müller proving already why he's so beloved before stepping onto the pitch at BC Place. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
The BC Nurses Union is responding to a story we broke here on CTV News last night. Its president is slamming health authorities for slashing overtime shifts, leaving nurses to work short-staffed. Lower Mainland health authorities have confirmed budgetary concerns have prompted them to crack down on OT and premiums paid to staff who agree to work last minute. Vancouver Coastal and Fraser Health say this is better for staff, but the Nurses Union says overtime shifts taken by their members, it's what has kept the system afloat for the last several years.
Maybe you're supposed to be caring for 4 patients, instead you're caring for 8 or 10 or 12, and you know that you have a colleague that was willing to come in to help out. So very concerning. I think this is only going to impact patient care, and it's just going to further burn out nurses.
She says overtime is not a long-term solution and is urging the province to do more to make nursing jobs sustainable while training new recruits. A 40-year-old from Abbotsford won't be riding his motorcycle anytime soon after police say he was caught speeding on the Sea to Sky while impaired. BC Highway Patrol says the man was stopped near Furry Creek last Saturday after his motorbike was clocked doing 196 kilometers per hour in an 80 zone. He then failed 2 breathalyzer tests. His bike has been impounded and he's banned from driving for 90 days. Plus, he'll have to pay an excessive speeding ticket. Video posted to Instagram shows more reckless roadside behavior. A motorcyclist weaving in and out of traffic at speeds close to 300 kilometers an hour. It appears this happened on Highway 91 in Richmond. BC Highway Patrol says it is not aware of a complaint related to this case of bad behavior. A Canadian-led patrol has revealed disturbing illegal fishing practices in the North Pacific, including shark finning and the killing of dolphins for bait. The joint mission involving crews from 3 other countries turned up dozens of suspected violations. CTV's Ben Nesbitt has the details.
Canadian Coast Guard vessel Sir Wilfrid Laurier spent 2 months patrolling the North Pacific this spring, with crews from the U.S., Japan, and South Korea on board.
Sir Wilfrid Laurier,
They departed from Victoria and headed to the Japanese city of Osaka. Officials say they conducted 41 high seas inspections, finding 39 possible violations on 11 vessels.
We have seen a reduction in certain amounts of violations, while we've seen some other types of violations have been persistent.
International Enforcement Chief Sean Wheeler says they found significant levels of shark finning, as well as targeting of dolphins and other marine mammals, destruction of evidence, and misreporting of catch.
Here you go, shark overboard.
A fisheries surveillance aircraft also took part for the first time, flying 33 missions and covering more than 47,000 nautical miles. Officials say it helped uncover the use of dolphins as shark bait.
Our daily air missions provided vessel sighting information directly to ship-based fishery officers who could then incorporate the aircraft's findings into their patrol planning.
There are more than 1,100 vessels registered to fish in the region, and all those inspected were permitted to do so. Wheeler says evidence is prepared to a court-ready level and sent to flag states for possible sanctions. He adds that these patrols appear to be changing behavior on the water.
We noticed through interviews with captains that they are aware and expecting now a Canadian patrol presence, which is a good sign.
Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
Homicide investigators are renewing their appeal for information 9 years after a fatal gang-related shooting in Surrey. On July 23, 2016, 2 men were found with gunshot wounds on 90A Avenue near 142A Street. 28-year-old Jatinder Michael Sandhu died soon after. The other man survived. Police believe the victims were targeted in a case of mistaken identity. Sandhu's loved ones releasing a statement today saying they believe someone may have information that can help bring justice to their family. Anyone with information is asked to contact IHIT. Well, you can feel the change in the air. The hot sun is gone, and we've got some much-needed rain coming. Anne's got a preview of her forecast coming up. But first, a different kind of forecast.
Well, we're very fancy now.
Fancy, but also deep-fried. We've got a preview of all the deliciousness you can expect at the P&E, whether you're into rides or wine. When CTV News continues, stay with us. Welcome back. One of Vancouver's oldest summer traditions begins this weekend. That's right, the P&E opens Saturday, and to entice fans back to the fair, organizers have something new for the senses. Would you like some wine with your mini donuts? CTV's St. John Alexander has the delicious details.
If it ain't broke, they say, don't fix it. That's why all the favorites will still be at this year's P&E. After all, 115 years can't be wrong. That long history may be the fair's biggest strength.
And also the biggest burden as far as having to make sure that we have new and exciting things.
Now, since they also say don't rest on your laurels, this well-known attraction is forever reinventing itself.
We built an entire exhibit that will allow the whole family to join in the sports excitement taking over Vancouver.
From free outdoor hockey for the kids to a treat on the palate for the adults.
So the burger's really rich, and in rich you want to go something a bit fuller, something more firm tannins.
The exhibition will now also showcase its bona fide classics and some new offerings with how well they might pair with a glass of white.
There's also a herbaceous zest to the Sauvignon Blanc that goes really well with like the tanginess and sourness of a pickle.
Pickles, onions, burgers, and mini donuts with a rosé or bubbly. It's all part of this year's exhibition.
You do not need champagne and caviar to pair wine. You can pair wine with anything you have in your fridge and anything that we sell at the fair.
Wine will be served in the chalet, pairings suggested, and food vendors will sell their treats at their stands.
I think it's so important that we have something new each and every year, and something new for each member of the family, because really, you know, our core demographic here at the PNE is 2 to 92 and everybody in between.
Over 3,000 performers, 15 action-packed days, and it all starts this Saturday.
Again, the entertainment, rides, concerts, super dogs will all still be here, but the century-old PNE is determined to remain just as youthful. St. John Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
I mean, anything goes with mini donuts,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
a nice Chardonnay, why not? And I'll be there for the whole 2 weeks starting Tuesday.
If you see Anne, make sure you say hi, but she'll be very busy eating.
Yes, but you can bring some wine because I will be having mini donuts. Don't worry about that.
Listen, so Rob said it had already started raining in Victoria. How are we looking out there?
Well, it's still dry right now for us. The rain has to cross the Strait of Georgia. It hasn't crossed the Strait of Georgia quite yet, but I do have to tell you about warnings that are in place, and that will start tomorrow. So 50 to 80 millimeters of rain expected for the northeast and northwest corners of Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley, including Abbotsford, all the way up Howe Sound. So again, 50 to 80 millimeters. Winds will be gusty, especially in the afternoon and near the water, so make sure you have your umbrellas handy. 15 degrees is the overnight low, 5 to 10 tonight, and then the bulk of it will be tomorrow, heavy at times. It will be a cool day with a high of 19 degrees only.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Make the most of your next trip by booking with those who've been there. Visit expediacruises.ca.
And we need the rain, but it's only a one-day event, clearing up for the weekend. I've got those details coming up.
Sounds good. Thank you, Anne. Should Alberta leave Canada? There's a movement to hold a referendum on the issue, but a judge says not so fast. That story is coming up. Plus,
everyone's more productive when they're at work, and how do you mentor someone over a phone?
Ontario orders public servants back into the office full-time. The edict that affects 60,000 workers, and not everyone's on side. We'll be right back. From the PNE to Ribfest and a celebration of craft beer, there's plenty to do in and around Metro Vancouver this weekend, and we've got a full list on our website. Check it out, ctvnewsvancouver.ca. Air Canada has begun cancelling flights ahead of a potential strike by flight attendants this weekend. If you're one of those holding tickets and looking for alternatives, we've got you covered. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has been checking out your options.
Labor stoppage or not, you should still be able to get off the ground, according to industry watchers.
If you already have an Air Canada ticket booked and paid for, then Air Canada has to buy you a ticket.
In the case of an active strike, which is classified as outside an airline's control, large companies such as Air Canada are required by legislation to rebook customers on a new reservation for the next available flight that is operated by any carrier.
Any carrier means any airline, including but not limited to the airline's competitors.
On their website, Air Canada says customers whose flights are cancelled will be notified and they will be eligible for a full refund. Air passenger rights advocates are advising customers against accepting a reimbursement.
One important thing to remember is do not accept a refund. Refund can be a way for airlines to wash their hands from their obligations to rebook you.
If you don't have a ticket and are looking to book travel in or out of Canada over the next several days, you might be in for a shock. The cheapest round-trip ticket departing Toronto tomorrow and returning from Vancouver next Friday costs more than $1,300. The same week-long round-trip ticket leaving September 5th, returning September 12th, is going for as little as $273. It all comes down to supply and demand that influences strategic pricing by the airlines.
Last-minute ticket prices, which always tend to be higher, and a substantial sudden increase in demand that is pushing prices up due to what might be a strike at Air Canada.
Again, if your flight is canceled by Air Canada, they're obligated to purchase you another ticket to your destination. If they refuse, consumer advocates say you could purchase one yourself and flip Air Canada the bill. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
A judge in Alberta says a proposed referendum question on Alberta separating from Canada will get a full judicial review. The Alberta Prosperity Project wants to hold a referendum on whether the province should become a sovereign country and cease to be part of Canada. The province's chief electoral officer referred the question to the courts last month for their opinion on if it violates the Constitution. Well, the APP applied to quash that review, but today a judge ruled a hearing will benefit democracy.
It's a great reaffirmation of the fact that the process actually works. We have always followed this process, and that is why Elections Alberta has approved our petition, and separatists are having these hurdles that they have to overcome.
On the pro-Canada side, a group led by Alberta's former deputy premier has had its question approved by Elections Alberta. The Forever Canadian initiative must collect nearly 300,000 signatures by the end of October for its question to be considered in a referendum. More than 60,000 public service workers in Ontario have been ordered back to the office full-time. All workers will be required to be in the office 4 days a week starting this fall, and then full-time in January. It's a change from a policy that's been in place since April 2022, when the provincial government employees were mandated to be in their offices at least 3 days per week.
Everyone's more productive when they're at work, and how do you mentor someone over a phone? You can't. You got to look at them eye to eye, over the water cooler, wherever, train them, camaraderie, plus the economy too.
The order comes after federal civil servants were called back to the office for a minimum of 3 days a week last year. After the break, the latest in a BC veteran's fight to get a new kidney.
My blood group is B positive. Only 7% of the population has that blood group.
He's found a donor who is a match, but they live overseas and Veterans Affairs won't pay for the flight. The new voice of support now in his corner. An MP on Vancouver Island is advocating for a veteran seeking federal support for a kidney transplant. He needs that transplant due to a disease linked to his service. But Veterans Canada is refusing to cover the travel costs of his living donor. CTV's Yvonne Raymond explains.
A Rhodesian Army veteran who lives in Zimbabwe's second largest city is volunteering to give one of his kidneys to a retired comrade in Shawnigan Lake when he's expected to need the lifeline.
Bruce is somebody that I really admire, and he's been a friend for life, if you know what I mean. He's somebody that you would aspire to be.
Now an Island Member of Parliament is helping advocate through a sticking point on the potential match.
There are times when people don't necessarily agree with the decision, and there's a process to appeal it, to request further information, and that's the process that we're in right now.
Bruce Sand's kidney health is failing due to a disease that's been linked to his service in Haiti.
My blood group is B positive. Only 7% of the population has that blood group.
He says early testing suggests his friend Mike is a match. Only Veterans Affairs won't pay for the donor to fly to Canada.
Way back in 2013, I received full compensation. But they also have a duty to assist me with treatment. And this is a treatment. It's not somebody coming to visit me to shake my hand or say goodbye to me as I lie sick in hospital. This is somebody who's bringing a live kidney for me to have.
The Minister of Veterans Affairs has declined an interview with CTV News for privacy reasons. Staff in the department have said each situation is handled on a case-by-case basis.
I hope that they make a favorable decision for him, and we'll certainly advocate on his behalf. But it's really going to be up to them to decide if it fits the parameters of the types of services that they deliver.
The timeline for an appeal is unclear. Until then, the clock is ticking for Bruce, who says he'll be at the optimal window for a transplant once his kidney function declines another 3%.
I would like it to work out. Bruce deserves better.
Yvonne Raymond, CTV News.
Here's a sweet way to help raise money for sick kids. Today is a miracle treat day at Dairy Queens across North America. Proceeds from all blizzards sold across the province today will be donated to BC Children's Hospital Foundation. Since joining forces with Children's Miracle Network, DQ has contributed more than $52 million to Children's Hospital Foundations across Canada.
We do it because, number one, the communities do so much for Dairy Queen and for our Dairy Queen franchisees and crew members, and we want to give back to the communities, and there's no better way than to give back to those that support us, and those are families with kids.
This marks the 23rd annual Miracle Treat Day. Money raised goes to equipment, research, and uncompensated care. Still ahead, it's the Olympics, but for robots, how they're duking it out in multiple sports. Plus,
it's really, really frustrating, and I just reach a point now I don't know what to do.
car loan nightmare. Why this woman is paying $800 a month for a 9-year-old car and still owes a lot more than the vehicle is even worth. Here's a look at the markets. The Canadian dollar was down, still trading at 72 cents to the U.S. dollar. Oil gained $1.31, closing at $63.96 U.S. a barrel. Gold lost more than $25 on the day. TSX finished the day down 77 points, while the Dow Jones lost 11 points. So McDonald's Happy Meals in Japan came with a supersized side of chaos after a Pokemon card giveaway sent fans into a frenzy over the weekend. The chain had to pull the plug early on a Happy Meal deal with Pokemon cards after customers eager to catch them all left behind a huge mess. Piles of untouched Happy Meals could be seen littered across stores and on sidewalks after people bought them just for the cards, then discarded the rest. Some even trying to resell the cards online with listings 10 times the cost of the Happy Meal. More than 500 competitors hailing from 16 countries are taking part in a first-of-its-kind sports championship. Not one of them, though, is human. Slowly but surely, a robot soccer player scored its first goal at the inaugural World Humanoid Robot Games. They kicked off in Beijing today following a glitzy opening ceremony. The 3-day event will see machines compete in sports like soccer, running, and boxing. It comes as China steps up its efforts to develop humanoid robots powered by AI. Participating countries include Japan, Germany, and the U.S. Now, so far, Anne, this does not make me fear the robot uprising.
No, not at all.
But why are we teaching them how to beat us at stuff?
I know. Well, I want them to do my laundry and
Wash
dishes.
my dishes. Do my grocery shopping for me.
I don't need you to be faster than a human at running, which they aren't, or playing soccer at all. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. Change is on the way. We are going to see very wet weather as we head through this evening into tomorrow. 50 to 80 millimeters of rain with a rainfall warning in effect for the northeast and northwest corners of Metro Vancouver, Howe Sound, and central Fraser Valley. That is including Abbotsford. It will be a soaker with strong winds in the afternoon, gusting to about 60 kilometers an hour. It will be very windy, especially near the water. So this is what we're looking at right now. Some light rain falling from the northeast corner of Vancouver right now. We will see it heavier through your early morning commute. It'll be steady rain and then heavy rain at times as we head through tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, slowly easing as we head into the late evening hours through the overnight. So here's a look at what we can expect. 55 millimeters for Chilliwack, 77 for Pitt Meadows, 59 for Vancouver, 69 for North Vancouver, and about 57 millimeters of rain expected for Surrey. So make sure you have your umbrellas handy. Bring in your patio furniture because it is definitely going to be wet tomorrow. You will see mostly cloudy conditions for Cranbrook, your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. Early morning rain clearing out of the way for Port Hardy with a high of 17, 15 to 20 millimeters of rain for Campbell River and Comox with a high of 19 degrees. Upwards of 40 millimeters of rain for Tofino with winds gusting to about 70 kilometers an hour through the afternoon. Soggy for Port Alberni and Nanaimo. Showers for the Southern Gulf Islands and Victoria. Wet and 18 degrees for the Sunshine Coast. Anywhere between 30 to 40 millimeters for Squamish with a high of 17. And for us across the Lower Mainland, a cool day tomorrow. Very wet one. Temperatures between 18 and 19 degrees. Slight chance of early morning showers to start off the weekend, but it clears up nicely for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We're looking at a mix of sun and cloud. Mostly sunny skies for Wednesday and Thursday. Temperatures between 22 and 23. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. And we're hoping the rain will help with the wildfires out there.
Well, it's just one and done, but fingers crossed.
Exactly.
Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.
Well, the average price of a new car in Canada is more than $66,000. And with current trade tensions, there are concerns it could go even higher. The majority of buyers have to finance their purchase. And if you have a bad credit rating, a car loan will cost you substantially more. CTV's Pat Foran reports.
Marva Ebo of Bolton bought this 2016 Mazda SUV 3 years ago. Unfortunately, when she got a loan, she had credit issues. She borrowed just over $40,000 for the vehicle over 6 years. At almost 13% interest, the cost of borrowing is more than $17,000.
My credit was just below 600, so it was really hard to get any credit. So, of course, they approved me, but with a very high interest rate.
After paying $800 a month for the past 3 years, she still owes about $30,000 for the car, even though it's worth less than half that.
It's really, really frustrating, and I just reached a point now I don't know what to do.
Even if you have good credit, a recent survey found the total cost of car ownership in Canada is almost $1,400 a month. When you have bad credit, it's a lot more than that.
The data is showing that negative equity in car loans is now higher than it's ever been before.
Car Help Canada says anyone with poor credit or who has declared bankruptcy can end up with never-ending car payments.
The interest cost, the cost of financing ends up being so incredibly high that it quickly drowns them in debt, and they're left with a vehicle that's worth significantly less than what they originally paid for.
It's important to maintain a good credit rating to avoid having to take out loans with high-interest lenders.
If you miss just one payment, regardless of what that amount is, it can have a very real impact on your credit score. So you want to be really careful about that.
I do need a car. I just can't afford $800 a month.
For anyone stuck in a high-interest loan, you could refinance, sell your car, or trade it in for something more affordable. Car Help Canada suggests paying it off as quickly as you can.
There's no easy way out of it. You just have to pay down the debt as quickly as you can, pay off the vehicle, and just hold on to it.
After the break, there's something in the water. What is disturbing the depths of Scotland's famous Loch Ness? Is it the monster or is it marketing? Plus, from trauma to triumph, Adam finds out how a boy endured child labor before realizing a dream on Vancouver Island. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off. Right now, here's a preview of CTV Morning Live.
We're closely watching the looming Air Canada strike. Friday on CTV Morning Live, the flight disruptions underway as the airline's flight attendants are poised to walk off the job. Also, we're gearing up for Canada's first WNBA regular season game happening in Vancouver this weekend. We'll get an up-close look at the championship trophy. Plus, what's new at the fair this year? We'll get a preview of the 125th anniversary PNE that starts this weekend. We'll see you Friday morning.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live, weekdays 6 to 9.
Tourists at Loch Ness had to do a double take after spotting something strange in the waters. No, it wasn't Nessie. It was Domino's making the world's first submarine pizza delivery, of course. The historic sub can reach speeds of up to 70 kilometers an hour and jump 5 meters out of the water. It's the latest stunt from the chain behind the world's first robot delivery dog and a pothole-proof delivery bike. I wonder if this is actually AI. Vancouver's PWHL team is hoping to inspire the next generation of hockey players. Its first ever summer camp is giving more than 130 young players the chance to train with top talent, including defender Ashton Bell, who just signed a 2-year extension.
The greatest part about playing this sport is just giving back and inspiring that next generation now that this is possible and this can be a dream for them. Being there so they can look up to us and have role models and inspire them to potentially wear the Vancouver PWHL jersey one day and play in this league.
The North Shore Winter Club is hosting the two-day camp where girls can participate in training sessions both on and off the ice and attend a variety of seminars. The camp comes ahead of the team's inaugural season, with Bell's contract extension adding stability as women's professional hockey builds momentum in Vancouver. Meanwhile, it was a slam dunk day for basketball fans in Vancouver as the WNBA makes its mark on Stanley Park. The league teaming up with the Vancouver Park Board to unveil the first WNBA three-point line painted on a Stanley Park basketball court. It's part of the Line 'em Up initiative, which aims to inspire more girls and women to get into the sport. Girls from a local basketball team were among the first to test out the court with its new addition today, along with three-time WNBA champ Whitecaps.
I tell young girls getting involved in sports is important for themselves and for their leadership. It starts there. I want to see young girls know that it's fun to play the game. It doesn't matter if you're the best player or you're just at the entry level. Get involved, and having courts like this will help do that.
The third WNBA Canada game takes place at Rogers Arena tomorrow as the Atlanta Dream and Seattle Storm go head-to-head in the first regular season WNBA game hosted outside of the U.S. Well, quite the play by the Vancouver Canadians minor league baseball team. They've turned a rare triple play.
Time. A ground ball up the middle. Munson's got it. Throw to second in time for one. Over to first base. In time for the double play. Throw back. And they got it. Triple play.
The farm team for the Toronto Blue Jays achieved the feat during the seventh inning of their match versus Spokane yesterday. The Canadians went on to win the game 6-5. Love a Canadians game. The sunshine, the snacks.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah.
The hot dogs.
We have more important snack news now. Krispy Kreme is casting a spell on customers with a new line of Harry Potter-inspired donuts. Yeah, there's a donut for each Hogwarts house, Gryffindor, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaw. The new treats are available starting on Monday. Now, we have reached out to BC's only Krispy Kreme location in Delta to see if they'll be part of the magic, but they say you'll have to pop by on Monday to find out. Those look very elaborate.
And delicious.
They do. Almost too pretty to eat.
Yeah.
Just before we get to the Sawatsky sign-off, Mary, what do you have cooking for the late news?
We are monitoring the situation at YVR Nafisa as Air Canada continues to cancel flights ahead of a possible strike by its flight attendants tomorrow night. So far, the federal government is staying out of it, but if they do get involved or a deal is reached before 11:30 tonight, we'll bring you the very latest.
All right. Thank you, Mary. Well, there's been a common thread in one man's journey from Syria to Turkey to Canada: sewing, a skill he mastered as a child out of necessity. It's helped him stitch together his dream life in BC. Adam shows us why in tonight's Sawatsky sign-off.
One picture of me. I was a year and 3 months.
And not long after he posed in front of a picture of a city, Ali Alaj Obeid started seeing the real buildings bombed.
In Syria, all I can remember is the war.
And never forget the friends and family he lost.
I really don't prefer to talk much about it because it really hurts.
Well, his family eventually found temporary safety moving to Turkey. Ali had to start working full-time to support them when he was 12.
Scary, tough.
You were just a little boy.
Yeah.
Working 12-hour shifts, almost 6 days a week at a clothing manufacturer.
And in break times, I started sitting at the machines and discovering how to use those machines.
Ali taught himself how to sew before designing and crafting clothes for his mom and younger sister when he was 13.
It felt a big achievement.
He got so good, Ali was promoted to manager at 17.
There is no way to love it. When you work there, you are just like a machine.
Ali would find solace spending time with his family and watching YouTube videos about Canada.
It was my dream to come and be here one day.
So you can imagine how Ali felt when, after applying to multiple countries, his family was accepted to immigrate here.
I can't really explain it in words.
When they arrived, Ali earned a job sewing, was accepted to college, and fell in love.
That's my wedding suit.
Ali made it from scratch, while also tailoring this wedding dress for his wife.
Tailoring to me is not just sewing, it's an art.
It's now Ali's passion, which he couldn't be more grateful to share after realizing his dream of opening his own tailoring business.
My hope is pay back to Canada.
And after his life was torn apart by war, Ali's committed to stitch it back together by using his skills to be of service.
Kindness is the main thing in life, being kind to others.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
Wow.
Ali, you are a
Wow.
gem. We are so lucky to have you here.
Mm-hmm.
And those
Bright
clothes are
light.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. He's so talented.
He can make me a suit.
Yeah.
We would pay for
Just
it.
hop onto the island. I think he should outfit all of us.
Yeah,
Right?
he's got a bright
Tailoring.
future.
Amazing. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. A storm in Penzance, Saskatchewan lit up the skies last night. Thanks, Lisa, for sending this amazing photo in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. So email us at scenicSnapshot@ctv.ca. Talk about perfect timing.
I think, yeah, vacation photos count.
I like them.
Yeah, we'll take it. CTV News continues online anytime. You can visit ctvnewsvancouver.ca. Start your day with CTV Morning Live, but stay up late with Mary. She's on at 11:30. And thank you for sharing part of your evening with us.